Oh, baby, we're back. It's time to talk about some records, boys and girls, because in case you forgot, this is Record Talk, and that's
right.
where we do it. Oh, my God, I'm hearing the loop in my own voice. Let's pretend that's not happening. There it is. It's muted, and I'm back. Brand new. I'm distorting like a psychopath. Let's fix that. What's up? Oh, that's wrong. What's up, everybody?
How's
What's
it going,
up?
brothers?
Oh, man.
Was the intro song supposed to play?
I don't think so.
No, it was just the regular countdown because I can't find the intro song. Yeah, it was not great. So in the interim time, since there's been a Record Talk, let's caffeinate. Cheers.
Oh, cheers, brothers.
Well, so I don't have any of the sound effects currently.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, yeah. I sold that piece of equipment. But we're back. We're back.
That's all that matters.
We're back. Let's So if you're watching this, YouTube is the place for the chat. That's where it's going to populate onto something we can see. I will continue to look and see why and when we can make Facebook also populate. But for those who don't know, this is Record Talk, guys. This is where we talk about records successfully. Yeah. Myself is Rob, and then to my side is Brian, and to my underneath, as always, the bottom of all bottoms is James. And we're so excited to be back. So just for a bit of background, if you don't know, Record Talk hatched on Instagram. Hold on, let's make this public.
Instagram Live.
Instagram Live is where we started this show. Myself and Brian, on a rainy night during the last couple of years, and can't go there. So, we were just talking about stuff we loved. What was the first episode, Brian? Do you remember?
Blind Melon Soup.
Of course it was. What a great record.
Naturally.
And it just evolved and it grew and it turned into this two-headed hydra, if you will. And we said, well, if we're going to take this to the next level, we need to complete the Triforce. So we reached out to the desert and we pulled James right back to reality.
Desert, man.
Bunch of childhood friends here. So we're going international. 3 of the 4 time zones, believe it or not, are being occupied on this oops, damn it. This we're so rusty. Okay, it's close. So I'm out of New York. Brian's out of the great state of Chicago, which is a city inside of Illinois. Yep. And James is in Stockholm, Arizona. So we're ready to go. How much
Rob's ever-present knowledge of geography still in full force.
That and the math. We're hoping that the math takes a front seat tonight.
You know what? My shoes are a little bit easier to take off than normal, so get ready for a treat. I can go past 10.
Oh.
So the cool thing about Record Talk was it allowed a bunch of childhood friends to really reminisce about, just what it felt like to hang out in a car, driving around, listen to tunes, nerd out over a great album, nerd out over a great band, a great concert. And it goes, video games and cars and guitars and just anything that, that's really where this exists. And we're going to discuss today a fantastic record by Nirvana. And then we're going to talk into some things that we've been working on for the future.
Hey,
you want to see that?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Classy.
And we've gotten to know some incredible people from around the world through this journey. And we're so excited to jump back on tonight and see where this takes us. So does anyone else have anything to say before we jump right back in here?
Yankee fan, I'm waiting for you to discuss song 4 on In Utero. All right.
That's Jeremy. He actually has a Brian tattoo on his arm he wanted to show you today, but you weren't here.
Oh, does it? What does that mean?
He carved your face into his arm.
Ooh. I'm terrified.
Jeremy was just here. I just finished up a band practice at the school, and everyone was super stoked. We got some new followers, so they're probably going to jump on and watch us, and we appreciate that. But, yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted. You were saying something. You're very dark.
I am?
Yeah. Or maybe I'm just ultra bright, taking up all the light.
You're a lot. You're a lot.
There's a light above my head.
I feel like Brian's very epic right now. It is very there's a lot of darkness and a lot of bright.
It doesn't help.
It's a good contrast.
Dark. Yeah. Oh, I have a dark shirt on. I would take it off, but I also have a black shirt on. So.
Is there any other color to wear?
Really not. Apparently today I'm dressed like a cat burglar. I'm in all black except for my socks. So even those are pretty gray. So. This has been a fun ride, man. We're just us kind of getting together and chatting about music, and we've made some great friends along the ride across the world too. We had some people from England, just talking a bunch of different records, answering questions, and just shooting the shit about music. It's been great.
Yeah, England, Brazil, the great state of North
Brazil.
Carolina. I mean, it's just been incredible.
The great state of North Carolina.
So hopefully we see some of those guys. And James, you want to just catch us up a bit? Where you been? What you're up to? We'll jump. Hey now.
Nothing too crazy. I was gonna say actually, like since the last time we did this, I've got a new phone. I hope my video is better.
You're strong. You're crisp. You're crisp.
You are
I like
crisp.
your pop collection. That wasn't in your backdrop in previous times, I believe.
That's true.
I broke down my setup and like I couldn't get the angle just right. So I'm gonna say this is just about where it's supposed to be.
I love this. This is a great angle. It's really cool because I
Yeah.
like when there's stuff in the background that draws you in. You want to like, what's that? Like squint and look.
Did you end up ever selling those that set of books? Was it books or DVDs that you were going to sell?
I never did. I stopped looking into it. Like I have them. They're mine. I mean, all I'm gonna do if I sell them is rebuy like the larger volumes, which I kind of want the larger volumes anyway. But I'm not like I'm emotionally attached to the story, but not the books that I have. So I might still do it at some point. There is value there, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. So one of the first things we do before we jump into the album, I don't have the song unfortunately, but it's a little song that goes, "What's in the That's right, boys and girls. What's in the glass? So what are we drinking? Well, I have a double shot of espresso.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
Ultra caffeinating myself because not only do we have a coffee machine at Rob's School of Music, we also have an espresso machine right in the front. So whichever direction you walk, you can get caffeinated and a fridge full of energy drinks. So what is sleep? I don't know.
Who knows, right?
What do you got, Brian? What's in your cup? I saw some clear liquid.
It's funny you have a double shot. I have my Pac-Man glass here. I have a seltzer with a double shot of soju. So it's a Korean green grape soju. Natural spirits. No, it's a liquor. It's double shot of that. It's pretty good.
Nice.
That sounds quite good.
James, what you got?
I'm actually I have a very light pour of that Legend bourbon that we got from Star by you up in Monroe. I haven't had it in a while, and I find that it has evolved into peanuts, which I'm totally cool with.
All right.
So if you guys want to come out to New York, I mean, I'm waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
Is that 18?
That's what that number says. Yeah.
I couldn't quite see it for a minute there.
Yes,
but yeah. The Portwood was fantastic. And have you had the 18? Did you open
I'm waiting for my friends.
Oh, you're a good man.
You're the best.
I have a couple things I'm waiting to share with you guys.
All right. So let's jump
in Utero.
So while we're here, so we're talking about Nirvana in Utero. Nirvana. So it's interesting because I was showing the thumbnail to some of the students here today, and they're like, "This is terrible thumbnail." I said, "Why?" And they said, "Well, you have that naked woman on there. Why would you have her?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's the album art," and they didn't know. And then they pulled up the Nevermind album artwork and said, "Well, at least you didn't use that person." And I said, "Well, on Record Talk, we have one rule, and it's no wieners. So that's why we can have anatomically stripped down angel ladies." But
we did Nevermind though, and we showed.
We did. I know, but just play along.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I did put the little record over it. I don't know.
Did. You covered it up.
Did I? All right.
Yeah. So
was the In Utero cover was like a dissected person or like a.
It's a mannequin. That's kind of like it's like a You see how like you see.
Okay. Yeah.
Intestines and musculature.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
Very
a lot of the art
exhibit.
direction of this album. So not only was Kurt doing the vocals and the guitar, but he was doing the art direction. He was doing the photography, the design. Obviously, they had an artist, put that together. But a lot of that, even Heart Shaped Box, believe it or not, a lot of that idea came from him. The director was surprised. Sometimes artists will come up with the ideas and they're like, "Yeah, that's shite." But he was surprised at how well thought out he had Heart Shaped Box. That he's like, this actually could really work. And obviously, it's an iconic video.
Yeah, I want to jump into that, but I think for context, it's important. So, what year did Nevermind come out?
So this came out in '93. So September. Oh, Nevermind.
Nevermind.
Oh, Nevermind. Nevermind was '92, and Utero was '93.
So they're a year apart.
Year apart. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Kurt was gone in '94. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So they did the MTV Unplugged, and then
I feel like it was '91 for Nevermind.
Nope, '92, sir. '89 was Bleach. '92 is Nevermind, and then you had Incesticide in between that compilation album before. Go ahead.
It was that much.
Go and check my ears. Go ahead, son. Yeah. And they recorded this album in 2 weeks.
I can see that.
Yeah. So 2 weeks time.
September 21st, 1991.
Not 21st. It's September 13th.
September 24th, 1991. is when Nevermind came out.
Oh, okay, never mind. Gotcha.
That's what I asked. I said, when does Nevermind come out? You said 92.
Oh, did I say 92? I'm gonna say, oh man, my brain.
James,
jeez,
we're falling apart.
It's a wreck. Where's Jamie Lee Foxx when you need her?
So for all you watching this currently, present, past, and future, normally we're more spot on, but we hatched this nugget of an idea 48 hours ago.
48 hours, that's right.
Yeah, so we're doing the best we can.
We're a little rusty.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I knew that it makes sense, but even still, even though 91 to 93, that's still a very prolific run. Yes. And I think and I just for context, if you do go back and watch the Nevermind episode, which I will clip it when you look up there, you'll have a link to it when you rewatch this. So I hated that. I was like, Nirvana is dumb, blah, blah, blah. And I was so like obnoxious and like pretentious, and Pearl Jam's better. And all of that's completely true.
It's no 10.
It's no 10. It's not. And it's not. It's not. And I think that was my problem. It's not 10. And it's not Super Unknown. And it's not Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. And it's not Core or Purple. None of them are those things. But it's something unique and special on its own. And I didn't realize that. I literally put an Instagram post a couple months back and I was like, so I just found this band Nirvana. Apparently they're pretty good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? And I like went as far as to buy like the Kurt Cobain signature, like legit, whatever this is, a Jaguar. So like
whatever this is.
Yeah. I just was because I have no idea what it is.
It's been up there for a while. I forgot.
But for a little bit.
I didn't get it. And now I do get it. And listening to this with those fresh ears, it's really kind of cool because some of these songs are like ultra slick, catchy, Beatles-esque, like, we'll go deeper, but then like you get to something like, some of the, like, I can't even, but like some of the songs are so.
They're gnarly.
Okay, so
they're just gnarly. Scentless Apprentice.
I love that song, but it's just like
very
gross.
Tourette's. Yeah, it's just there's some of them are just they're gnarly as hell. They have all the jagged edges. Nothing's been polished. I mean, Kurt said it. He said, "Of course they want another Nevermind, but I'd rather die than do that. This is exactly the kind of record I would buy as a fan, that I would enjoy owning, and that is very telling. And when you listen to this, that shines through like 100%.
And I think it's interesting because a lot of bands, you look at their big record. You look at Pearl Jam 10 versus Vitology, and then all of a sudden they put out No Code, which was experimental and weird and strange and has a lot of, in my opinion, hits on it, but certainly a few misses. Right. And it's almost as like this strategic, like, no, let's go back to our roots. And even if you look at like the record after Purple, STP, it's Tiny Music Vatican Gift Shop, whatever it is, like that one felt really different too. This, it's if Bleach happened, then this happened. I think that would make more sense than Bleach Nirvana.
This felt more going back to their roots. There was that grittier sound. So you had a polished feeling on Nevermind. And that was something that I don't know if the band, I know Kurt was very vocal about like not liking the fact that it became so polished. It's not what he wanted. And that was why they sought out Steve Albini for this one, because he had a reputation with the American independent music scene. He had very odd, methodical ways of recording that he knew would capture that rough around the edges, like capture the raw energy, like the Stooges, and which is somebody that he's produced. Like, how do you capture someone like the Stooges, Iggy Pop, And he did that in this album. You hear this album, you could smell the sweat. You smell the room it was recorded in. It's a phenomenal album. A lot of credit goes to Nevermind. I don't know. I think this one's better, in my opinion. I love this. I love Nevermind, don't get me wrong, but this one, Bleach.
I don't know. I'm curious, James, because you're, what do we call him? The
heretic.
The heretic. Thank you.
The dark heretic.
I was like the dark horse. That's not right.
That's brutal. I became way more metal if I'm the dark heretic now.
Because your opinions come from a very different place, I think. And what is your take on this album?
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on Brian saying that Kurt said that Nevermind was too polished.
Yeah.
That staggers me in itself, because Nirvana's sound is, Nevermind included, I feel like, is so gritty and like so, like,
still does.
sawtooths
For sure.
and razor blades, so to me, like, I feel like sonically, like, it's still very, very rough.
Oh yeah. But if you listen to Bleach, then listen to Nevermind, then listen to Utero. Like the next when we're done with this episode, when you have some time this week, just listen to those three. Don't even like go deep into them. Just listen one after the other, and you'll see. You're like, oh yeah, I could see why that may have been more of a commercial click for a lot of people and hooked in a lot of people that may have not been. If this album or Bleach came out, they wouldn't have been into Nirvana. You could see where that was kind of a catch-all. There is some polish there for sure. You'll see it.
Well, you know what's interesting too, I think, is how can you go from songs like All Apologies, Dumb, Penny Royalty, maybe that's a little extreme in terms of the pain in his voice there, but Heart-Shaped Box and Dumb and All Apologies, but then like I can't say that word, Scentless Apprentice or Rape Me, or I mean, they're just very diverse and different. And then even like the Servants, like it starts off and you're like, where like that could I hear Beatles in that song?
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
because how do you have a song that has Beatles influences and track 2 is like these tribal drums and this whole other thing, you know?
Oh, here's the quote I found. So here, early in '92, Cobain told Rolling Stone that Nirvana's next album would showcase both of their extremes of their sound, saying it'll be more raw with some songs and more candy pop on some of the others. It won't be as one-dimensional as Nevermind. So to him, it was more one-dimensional. It didn't have the depth and the obscurity that they were known for, and just dragging in just more of what they encompassed in their, in their living spaces and their live shows. So you could hear that. I think that a lot of that's attributed to Steve Albini and his reputation for what he's able to, produce with music. I think if you look at what he's produced and who he's worked with, and him as an artist in general, you're like, whoa.
You know what? It's interesting because this was what, 93? We just we were confident of that one, 93, right? So I'm 10. I remember very distinctly when Kurt died. I'm 11. I remember when the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah. I remember the Live in New York. I can recall that when it actually happened. So that's early
the
94.
Unplugged you're talking about?
Yep.
I
can remember when he died. I can remember that Muddy Banks of the Wishkah live album they put out after he died, because Aneurysm was the single they were pushing. I remember sitting in my kitchen watching the TV with MTV with James, actually, and that video was on. Just a random eating a bowl of cereal probably or something. I don't know.
Right on.
Throwing cereal into my face.
While talking to you. Yeah.
Shocking.
Throwing it into my face. I see. Yes, probably. I remember when Heart-Shaped Box. I remember the video of it. And I remember thinking like, this feels different than, Come As You Are or whatever prior to it. But it still felt, I think, I don't know, this thought is half formed because it's a 48-hour-old idea. But I think like it still feels like the same band, but it's different. And that's hard to do. It's hard to kind of, maybe jumping off the idea you had, to continue on the same path and have it splinter in an organic way. Like, I guess, referencing that quote where it's all sides of something.
Yeah.
And then like, if you say, okay, well, there's like, I have this 20th anniversary edition. So there's a CD with a new mix of it, but then it has like some B-sides. It has Marigold, which is the Dave Grohl one, and it has Sappy, which I think is that the one like, and if it will make you happy, right? Just like that, right? Can you tell? Yeah, that's a good one. I can't play the music, so you just have to guess, right? Yeah. So let's put a pin in this. What's the next Nirvana song? You're right. That's the only thing that came after this. If that's where they were going, and I think I said that during the Nevermind thing too. Like,
I remember calling you when that came. I was like, dude, this sounds as it's fitting for the time. It came out so much longer after his death, and it sounded like something that if they were still together or they had gotten back together to do another album, that's what it was. It was pertinent to the times. It wasn't just like we were all craving, what else do you have in the canon that wasn't released? Yeah, it was incredible. To this, I was after listening to this whole album, my brain went to that song. So
me too.
It feels like the natural progression of what this band would have done, if not even more, obviously.
What's your favorite song on here?
Jane, let's start with The Heretic. Let's start with The Heretic of that one.
None of them.
None of them.
Not that. I feel at some point I'm gonna have to defend myself here. I haven't even said anything bad, but I'm gonna have to defend myself.
I want you to.
But you want me to say something bad?
Yeah.
Well, I won't say something bad. I'll say my favorite song.
I like your shirt.
Apologies.
Is that a Volkswagen on your shirt?
No, it's actually my car, but it's cute. It's like somebody pan drew it.
Yeah. Okay.
But my favorite song is All Apologies. I love the melancholy of the guitar, and I love his vocals on that. Actually, it's always been my favorite song on this album. But I don't have anything bad to say about it. I liked Nevermind more personally. I enjoyed the grit of this album, but I hear everything different. Anybody who's seen the show and who like knows my shtick knows that I don't absorb stuff the same way. But being someone who absorbs some stuff differently, this was going back and listening to the whole thing over the course of the past 48 hours. Was the first time that I heard Kurt's voice and been like, man, that guy hurts.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first time that I really made that. Like I've heard it before and been like, man, like you had to be in a messed up place to come at that from that, tangent. But this, like the whole album sounds painful. And that's the main thing I took away from listening to it with fresh ears after 20 plus years of ever listening to it. Really,
I agree entirely. Like, so I got into Nirvana, a couple months ago because I read Dave Grohl's book, which is amazing. If you guys haven't read it, it's a quick read and it's just so full of awesome stories. And he discusses really briefly like Kurt dying in Nirvana, and it was more on the level of not like the rise of fame, but not like on this gig, blah, blah, blah. But he was like, that was my friend and I'll never get to talk to my friend again. And he references Kurt's pain. So like I'm hearing Dave's words in my mind, listening to Kurt sing in my other ear. And I'm like, my God, this guy like is just messed up, terribly messed up. And you hear it in the sad songs and that like All Apologies. He's not screaming, but he's sad. I mean, I guess a little bit, but it's not. Yeah.
You hear that with a lot of bands that like open up about that. Like, cause I know Christopher Thorne has said that in numerous interviews and just in time that we've talked to him probably like, you just never heal from that. Like that's
right.
So this is going to sound like a cop out, but hear me out on this one. When you ask what's the favorite, going back to that, this album to me is a lot like Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral. It's very difficult to choose a favorite. And because compositionally, it's just, I don't know. It depends on my attitude. Depends on what's going on lyrically. There's so much great stuff here. So I have a hard time. There are times when I'm like, "Serve the Servants." I love a good song that really grabs you by the collar. It's like, listen. And I love the song that kicks the door in. So like, there's times it's that, and then this All Apologies is a beautiful, folksy, independent kind of sound, like this rocky, folky, staticky sound. So it depends on my mood, so I don't know. I really, as a whole, and plus there's lots of common themes in this album too, so it almost feels conceptual at a point. So I don't know. It's a lot like Downward Spiral for me. I don't know that I could just pick. Some days it's this, other days it's that. So
that's a good. I think I agree with you though, because it does have a lot of. I don't even say colors because I feel like it's more. It's like seasons almost. Like this album is a year, right? And there's fall songs and there's summer songs, there's spring songs. Emotionally, what comes with those seasons, and just conceptually where he's coming from. Like Heart Shaped Box is a very accessible song, and it's a great song. But then
hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And then you put the video in your mind and like, I'll eat your cancer when it turns black. Like, whoa, what are you saying, man? What's going on? What happened?
Yep.
But then something like Senseless Apprentice, where he's just so like raw, screaming.
It's quite autobiographical too. I mean, some of his pain, his anxiety, his confusion.
Yeah.
It really resonates. The sound is exactly what they needed following Nevermind. Like Albini was perfect in putting like mics all over the place to capture the feel of the room, and that's something that Nirvana had wanted, and other producers wouldn't be okay with. So, like for example, they put Dave Grohl in the kitchen, so they would get a different kind of resonance with his sound. They put 30 mics around his kit to get a certain type. So it's like there really was some experimental stuff that you could see how it captures more of that. You're in the room, you're in the recording session, you're in this place where they're all creating and crafting. You can feel that in this album. That's magic. Not every album captures that. That's magic, man.
And I think I'm sorry, James, what?
Oh no, I agree. Like there's a very close vibe when you listen to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you almost feel like you're kind of in it.
Yeah.
I think there's I think we've talked about this before. There's like this series they used to have called I think it's Classic Masters, and it's on Amazon Prime. So if you have Prime, you can watch all of them without any like that Coda collection upcharge stuff. And the Nevermind one is amazing, especially when they break down Something in the Way, which is used insanely perfectly in the new Batman movie. It's in the movie it's in the movie two different times, big chunks of the song, and like it's so perfect in that place. I was talking to one of the guys here. Is like I was so into the song and what I was seeing visually, I missed dialogue because I was just so in the moment. Yeah. I wish they had a Classic Masters. Maybe they do, and I don't know about it for this record because I would love to hear Kurt's raw vocal. I would love to hear the drums. I would love to hear what's going on, and I think that it's really cool that these songs got more complex to the point that when they toured this record, they brought in Pat Smear. Mm-hmm. So like they needed another guitar player, but even then Kurt, in where he is in his head, like he still stood in the same spot of the stage. Yeah. Like he was never center stage. Like Chris was center stage. It's Kurt on the side, you know? Yeah. Just so much going on, man.
It's interesting to watch bands dynamics like that. Yeah. It's a shame to think. I mean, in that first opening line where he says teenage angst has paid off well. Now I'm bored and old. Self-appointed judges judge more than they've sold. It's just, you could tell like some of this stuff, like it's paid off. My angst has paid off. It's made me famous. But at the same time, like he's great with wordplay. Like I'm bored though of this. Like it's not as fulfilling. I don't think that fame was something it doesn't suit everybody well, especially, unwarranted fame where people are just crowding you and not giving you your privacy. So then on top of like his other demons, you put that Molotov cocktail together and, it's rough.
I think also when these artists, these iconic figures pass away, in their late 20s, Jimi Hendrix, him, my buddy Morrison, like you,
Shannon.
Yeah. There's a Doors reference there.
I heard you. I just
making sure. Pick up what I put down, baby. They become especially like, 70s, 80s, 90s. Like I think Kurt is of the last generation where I don't want to say it's glamorized, but there wasn't the footage. Like I look through this booklet and I'm like, wow, look at these pictures of him. Like you can't access it in the same way where like people love the Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia. There's a million bootlegs of Grateful Dead concerts that you can see the guy and feel like you know the guy and get into the guy, even though he died prematurely also. Such a short window. Yeah. Same thing with literally better to burn out than fade away, right? And it's Blind Melon also, like when All I Can Say came out, I was like, oh my God, look at this guy. Like we're like, it feels voyeuristic almost. I wish stuff like that. I found a channel, a page on Instagram. I'll link it up in this, and it's all old, like random Nirvana bootlegs. Oh, and like minute-long clips of songs, but it's like, wow, awesome. Like,
link that, dude.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you guys remember when he passed away? Like, do you remember where you were? You remember? I remember it's just it was solemn. It was high school. I just remember just
4. That makes me 11. That makes me 6th grade.
13? Oh wait, 13.
Yeah, it's because I was just getting into rock music, like 6th grade. That was like,
it was heavy, man. It was so heavy.
It's interesting. I remember the aftermath of it more. What month was it? What month did it happen? April?
Yeah, April 4th, I think it was. I think like Lemmy passing away from Motorhead, like that's sad, right? That's an iconic man, but like he's had decades and decades, and there's footage, and it's like you said, like, this is not like they were still in the thick of it, they were still on the cusp of what they could still do independently together, different projects, like we said about Batman, like it being used in that light, like.
It's just
there was so much possibility and so much on the table, It's just like it's like, oh man,
you know what I think is kind of cool about him, and I don't think you can Jimi Hendrix. It's not the same thing, and I'm paralleling them for a reason. John Lennon, it's not quite the same thing. Like
the 27 Club, is that what it is?
It's I'm going somewhere with it. Like Kurt Cobain was in a band, a guitar, a rock band. So like this pet project of mine recently has been trying to achieve a full 1990 set, the whole decade of Guitar World magazines. And I have issues where Kurt's talking. It's not like an old interview. Like it's 1992 and he's being interviewed. He's alive. Yeah. And it's like, what? Like that's a thing? But yeah, of course it was a thing. But that doesn't really, I don't know. It's just, he's iconicized, but he's like a ghost, but it's like, he's screaming right in your face. But then just to grab a magazine, like he's just right there. It's very strange.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. That was heavy. That was a good one.
It was. Yeah, it really was, man.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it, James. Do it.
I never thought about it in that context because I feel like everything has shifted so radically in the past couple of years. Like now we would immediately associate that with there's an interview with him like with Premier Guitar or something on YouTube or something like that.
Right, a rig rundown.
Yeah, like that doesn't exist for that. So it's
right.
It's articles. It's pictures.
Yeah.
I also find it. I'd love to read that because I always thought of him as someone who was very closed off. That like he didn't talk about these kind of things, and like it was the fact that he was like a guitar player and would have been in like a Guitar Player magazine almost seems like secondary to what he was about.
Right.
So that's especially unique, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a part that like some people have a hard time with. I mean, there's several artists like that that are shy, but they also want to do this. So it's that weird pull, where it's just like, well, I got to do this, but it's not to what capacity. So I don't know. I think that's part of the thing that really probably jabbed at him a bit too. And then on top of like he said that he has bipolar disorder. So like all these things, you mix all this together, and you don't know what you're doing. There's not a manual on this. It says, all right, this is successfully work, go this path. Like,
and just the severe addiction. I mean, there's a biography on him,
right.
Heavier Than Heaven.
Yeah.
Which is it's fantastic. And
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It's, I read it 2 times actually. And then I just,
it's a book. I'm sorry.
A book. Yeah. And then I actually just recently reread the last chapter of the end of his life. Cause it's just like, why? Like he was so, deliberate in everything that happened at the end. Like it was a choice, it wasn't. But yeah, man. So that's what we do around here, guys. We talk about records in this way, and we make ourselves bummed out and sad.
Well, no, let's spin it around. I think there's a lot of great things on this album too. So I think most people would think of Nirvana and like James was saying, the guttural screams, and where is that coming from? How he does that, whether it's from a place. But like, there's a lot of things lyrically in here too. Like some of them are based on novels. Most people wouldn't think that. Like there's certain songs like Scentless Apprentice is based on a novel, Perfume by a German writer. And it's about this guy who has this extraordinary sense of smell, but he also doesn't have any odor of his own kind. And he's just kind of like he grows up in an orphanage and these nurses, and he's kind of treated like crap. And years later, he becomes like this apprentice to a master perfume maker. And he later commits these series of murders in order to kind of make these perfume scents of his victims. So like, you wouldn't expect something like that. Like, so he's taken this book and he's written this amazing song about it. There's like Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge in Seattle. That's based on an actress from the Seattle area. Her whole story. So like, there's a lot of like cool substance here too that most people may not know because they just hear a guy screaming like, it's not for me, it's noise, but there's a lot of great substance here, and like I said before, there's common themes, whether, in Utero, Fetal, there's all the Pennyroyal Tea, plays on words. Like he was a really smart dude, really smart dude, creative as hell. And that's that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I encourage everyone. There's some people, if you're watching this now while we're live, I encourage you, jump in that chat. What's the song you like in this? Do you remember when it came out? Do you remember when he wasn't here anymore? Do you have any thoughts or opinions on this? And anyone watching this in the future, please jump in and just get the community back up and running, because I think the coolest part of music is being able to talk to other people about it, because you'd be surprised how many universal emotions a lyric will connect with someone. And I've had situations where a song I thought was sad, someone else found as happy, and other way around. And I just always think that's really paradoxical, because why? How could you hear that way? Oh, because I hear it this way. And I think that's why it's really cool to be able to have different opinions about something and find some kind of a common ground.
Yeah. Well, look at Rape Me. Most people, just the song alone, the title, I know that got a lot of stir out of people too. Is like,
remember when he played it? Was it SNL or the MTV Awards? Was it? I think
right.
SNL.
Rape Me. Yeah.
They started it and then they went into a different song.
They were going to almost cuts commercial. Yeah, because it on the surface like Rape Me. Oh God, but it's not. It's oddly enough, it's an anti-rape song. It's from this perspective of the victim, but because of what it's singing and people not taking a second to be like, all right, is this tongue in cheek? What is he trying? What's the whole message? People immediately get up in arms.
Right.
It's like you're saying, like, it's got to be negative. It's got to be in support of rape. Actually, it's not. Certain songs you think are sad but make you happy. So yeah, it's interesting. That's the beauty of art, man, and lyrics and music.
Everything's open to interpretation to some degree, and I think
yeah,
I think your first impression of something is very indicative of your later feelings or your ultimate feelings towards it.
Language. Just kidding.
I didn't even know what I said.
I don't know. It threw me off the dick. There you go. That language.
You said indicative, but then Brian said it anyway.
I said dick.
Oh, I see what's happened here.
Easy, okay. Steve Rogers, go.
I don't even know how to say what I was going to say anymore. It's gone.
You're talking about dick. Go ahead. We interrupted you.
Indicative.
Indicative of.
So we're talking about docking or like what? But I feel like our first, as people, like your first experience with music or with that piece of music is very symbolic. Or
sure.
No, indicative is the word.
Indicative. Yeah, no, I'm being an idiot. Yeah, of course. It's the right word. Yeah.
Of your ultimate feelings on it. And I feel like your mood in that moment is related to that. So like if you're the first time you hear something, if you've had like a terrible day and you're just not in the mood for it, you're not in a receptive mood towards what it could be. And like you'll always ultimately associate that mood with that song. Yep. Or with that piece of music or some degree. Yep. So like the first time I heard Heart Shaped Box, I didn't get it. I wasn't in a mental place to understand what the song was about. And I just knew at the time, like Smells Like Teen Spirit was one thing and Heart Shaped Box was a different thing. Right. And I could make that differentiation. And ultimately, like I didn't care for it as much. And that probably spilled over towards the later years. That's probably like I clung to Nevermind and I never really latched onto in Utero.
That's interesting. You said something there too about like certain mind frames and there are certain albums we go back to and there are time capsules, right? Like they either don't hold the test of time or sometimes they just zip you right back to a time where like, oh, I remember those sentiments in this time in my life. I remember what was going on. And they still have great meaning. They still have a special place. Some are like kind of timeless. And I feel like this is a timeless album because like in listening to it, while I am reminiscent of things that were going on, attitudes, feelings, people, events, it took on a new shape with the new lenses I have, having more experiences of life, living longer life and having more years to me. It was interesting, it didn't feel like something that was just a time capsule. Like, oh, I remember this when I was 13 years old, right? So it was really cool to revisit this because I haven't listened to this album in a little bit. So it was like, oh man, this is cool. Like I played it back to back. I would finish it and start it right back up again. And I mean, that aspect of it felt like some of the albums I would listen to in high school where we're just like, all right, play it back again and again and again. But like this had different meaning too. Just, more experiences in life. That was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And that was an awesome welcome surprise.
I think for someone who's listening to us talk about this and they're like, oh, well, I know, Smells Like Teen Spirit and I know Heart Shaped Box, but I don't know any of these other songs these fine young gentlemen are talking about.
Fine.
Go into it with an open mind because it's different. It is different. And some of it is jarring and some of it lyrically or emotionally or sonically is off-putting, but listen to it as a complete work. Listen to it front to back. Don't put on shuffle. Don't jump around. Like just digest it in the sequence they intentionally put it, because back in 1993 they were being conscious of the order in which the songs were being delivered to the listener and respect that and hear that, because there's definitely ending with all apologies makes a heck of a lot more sense than if it some reason went between Heart Shaped Box and Rape Me. It just doesn't,
right.
The sequence is important.
Well, oddly enough, this song, one of the titles they had played around with for this song was going to be for the album was "I Hate Myself and Want to Die," which ended up being one of the tracks on the Beavis and Butthead album.
Do it, Beavis and Butthead. Do it. Was it Beavis and Butthead?
Do America.
Do America.
No, it was Beavis and Butthead Experience.
It was
no, that was the movie one. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep. It was "I Hate Myself and Want to Die."
Wow, what crazy that was happening all at once.
Right? Yeah, that was a great compilation of band. Like Anthrax did a cover of Beastie Boys.
You know, a great compilation album.
Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun.
Thank you, James. The Cable Guy.
Cable Guy soundtrack is just like straight out like 90s. Jerry Cantrell.
So is Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber's got like more of that alternative rock 90s, weird under the counter subculture stuff there. Which is funny that he's in both of those.
Was the first track on In Utero, because of the way I was listening to it and the way that I was listening to the album these past couple of days, I never really found a track list except for the songs that I knew already.
Oh, because you're listening on YouTube. It's Serve the Servants is the first one.
Serve the Servants. Yep.
Okay. Was that like the opening song in Clerks? Or another Kevin Smith movie?
I don't think so.
No, it wasn't the open. I just remember the opening song in Clerks. I feel like I know that song from like an early 90s movie for some reason. But I don't know why. Just something that I was thinking about while I was listening to it.
So if you guys are curious about that Hate Myself and Want to Die, it is available on this 20th anniversary, which you can find on all the streaming. There's actually a 3-disc version, which is not on the streaming, and that's like $200 on eBay, but this one is affordable. But you get the demos, you get the new mix, you get the B-sides and the bonus tracks, which gives Hate Myself, I Want to Die, Marigold, Sappy, Moist Vagina, just lots of yeah. So
you had that great box set, similar like the Smashing Pumpkin box set where it was all the singles and then each single
I didn't have that, but in my previous life I had that. Yes.
All right, but that was a great box set because each single like All Apologies and Rate Me, but then it had like the other B-sides and it was very reminiscent of the Smashing Pumpkins. What was that? The Airplane Flies High, Turns Left.
Right, which is also that
left turns right.
That Pumpkins one is on streaming too. There's a Cars cover they do on there.
Yes,
It's awesome.
Awesome. I revisit that box set every year. I love that box set. It's a great.
That makes me think of you because I just remember like it just the music as a tangible thing. I keep touching this, and off camera, I'm taking the CD out and putting it back in because that's just such a nostalgic feeling.
It is. It is.
All right, let's take the last couple of minutes here and just discuss the future, if that's okay, boys. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
I don't want to run too far over 10 o'clock.
Yeah, no, this has been fun. What we got going on, Rob? Come on. Start it off, baby.
Well, James is going through a change, but we're cool with it. We support him. He's moving back to New York.
Yes, good job, James.
Just putting it out there. Just putting it out to the universe. Maybe the universe will listen.
There you go. All right, dude. When you making the move? You want to go back to the cold? You want to go even colder? I'm here.
It's going to snow tomorrow. It's going to snow tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches. It was 70 degrees on Monday.
Where? By you?
New York. Yeah, it was 70 degrees
we had
on Monday.
68 and then it went to like 20 something. So
so thank you. You're the future, and now I live your hell.
Yeah.
I guess weather blows this way. Thank you. Yeah.
It does go across.
You're just crop dusting New York. Get ready. I had dairy. So lots of cool things coming up, in our time away from this. Record Talk, existed as a thing just to really bring us together and develop this awesome community as we referenced. And we plan on doing more of it, maybe a little more sporadically and not as weekly, but I think there's something to be said about us discussing these sort of things. And there's certainly value we provide to each other and hopefully anyone listening. So on a larger scale, we have been discussing privately and separately and triforcinally about, what are our other
come on. Yes.
We all kind of do things independently, but it comes back to the home. So I do the interviews. I interview Mark Holcomb recently. He was just picked up by some place in France. Yeah, he was incredible. Such a cool guy. Jeff Schroeder recently from the Smashing Pumpkins. Cool stuff. But each of these guys here, they got some unique skills. Brian is the most passionate human on the planet about many a thing, primarily the genre of horror. and Monster Arm. What is it? Monster Arm's Giant Catacomb? Is that what we're calling it?
Monster Arm Cellar. So you're gonna start a podcast, doing you call it Monster Arm Cellar, and you're gonna be talking about just horror related stuff. So sci-fi horror, mostly just dissecting movies, kind of like what we do here. And just had some really cool ideas about what I like to do with that, and then really come at it from every angle artistically. So I've been working with these fine gentlemen, coming up with an intro song and an outro, and just really coming at this multimedia wise. So I'm really excited about starting to put out some cool stuff for that. I have some stuff in the works for that. So hopefully we'll have some stuff together soon.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, that's not a genre I know a ton about. And I tell you every time privately, I'll say it publicly. When you discuss these things, it makes me care very much. Your passion is addictive.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Enticing and captivating, and I think it's going to be incredible. And hopefully there's a video component too. Maybe you tape yourself and just upload video, however you choose to do. It's going to be epic. And then James, you had a pretty epic idea. I don't know if you want to share that. You don't have to, but something cool also. You don't want anyone to steal it.
Well, I've actually, like, this, I don't know if this is like a dirty thing to say. I've started like scripting some of my ideas for what I'm doing, and basically I always like ask my friends that live out here, my wife. I want to go for this long drive. Like, I want to go from here to this place because we're like, it's COVID well, because people aren't doing a lot of things. So there's like not really.
Because I like point A and point B, and I like to see what happens.
Not because I want to get somewhere. I want to enjoy the road in between where I am and where I'm going to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places out here that are really beautiful driving roads. There's a lot of beautiful desert, a lot of beautiful scenery. And so I was trying to explain, I can never get my thoughts out coherently, but
I stutter when I try and get my thoughts out. So you're not stuttering, you're winning.
Oh, okay. Well, it occurred to me, and I got my thought out eloquently to my wife one day, that it's not about, I'm not looking to get to a destination. The drive is what the destination is. So I plan on doing like a small video series, maybe like finding a way to make it like a seasonal thing, because I've got to get further and I've got to go other places besides just my state. And I've got a couple locations planned already that I just plan on doing these drives and filming them and explaining where they are, the car that I'm driving, when I go do the drive, and things to look out for and things like that. Like where you're not necessarily that, like, the big joke is, I want to go to a Chipotle that's 2 hours away, not because I want to go to Chipotle, but because I want to drive the 2 hours of perfection that are on the way to that Chipotle. That's that weaves in and out of mountains and through forests and goes up and down and just does all kinds of cool stuff. And that's what I love in life a lot, is just going for really, really beautiful drives.
The absurdity of the way you describe it, I love that. It's something like out of Monty Python. Like, I'm gonna go to a Chipotle 2 hours away, not because I want Chipotle, but because.
But I guess that's the point. Like,
can I be in the back seat with the coconuts?
Like, there's a beautiful drive that I love to do out here, and I do it kind of occasionally. Is to a boat launch at a lake in Arizona. I don't have a freaking boat. I don't care about like going to the boat launch, but there's 16 miles of really, really nice road between where you jump off the main road and go to the boat launch. So
on the boat launch drive, can you like have a guest for that one and like maybe get like T-Pain? I'm on a boat.
Probably not, but that would be pretty cool.
Work it. I think you can do it.
We'll have to figure out licensing. I'll just throw like lots of I'm on a boat clips on towards the end. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Just randomly some like Jack Sparrow stuff too, just because that one's funny also.
Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
Rob, what about you, man?
You complete me. I like that, James.
Bolton's a major cinephile.
It's a great idea.
I think it's cool because it's a spin on, it's not the destination, it's the journey kind of thing, but it ties into something you, again, passionate about driving. And then there's the scenic element to it. And then the car, there's a lot to discuss, and what do you need to do it? You need a couple of GoPros and a story, and there's stories in every mile you drive. So it's cool, man. I like it a lot.
And I'm going to try and get like my buddies out here involved to take a couple different cars. We have a good selection of cars to pick from just in our circle. So
Devin's not invited, but yeah, the rest sounds really cool.
The cars are invited.
Yeah. And tell him to get back the Porsche and get rid of that silly race car.
It's preposterous.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's kind of what we're all doing, I guess.
Cool. Well, I have, and I think this will all kind of exist in the same kind of universe. You know, it's like the multiverse of record dudes. I don't know, something like that.
Huh.
Multiverse of record dudes. So my thing is, so I have a book coming out.
Yes, he does.
I saw that.
Yes, on April 21st, it will release the day I was released from my mother's home.
Hey!
Very clever.
And it's entitled "This Book Shreds," and it was written in collaboration with this woman, Kristen, who's incredible. And it is basically, I would say, 30% stories and experiences with tons of, here's what you learn from that. 20% music theory and how to play music, how to write a guitar, and then 50% just like self-help kind of stuff, like music as a lifestyle, how music took a shy, awkward kid and turned him into an awkward guy with a big mouth. And
didn't shave off that awkwardness.
Yeah, no, the awkward lingers, but just to build the confidence through it. I think that's incredible. And just to kind of teach people that it's not as hard as you think it is. And it's never too late to start. And I think these are obstacles people come across. There's a link that is out now. I'll put it up in here too. But if you subscribe to receive information, you get a free video explaining to you that there are no wrong notes, because there really aren't any wrong notes. And that's a big obstacle. For a decade, I was afraid to play a solo in front of anyone. First of all, because James was too good at it. But second of all, because intimidated. What if you hit a bad note? And if you look at it through this lens, it's not that way. So it's really exciting and it's kind of overwhelming. I just got the artwork today, and the whole
artwork is awesome, dude.
There's more. I'll send it to you later. Like
cool.
This whole mock-up. Yeah, it's awesome. You guys are discussing it heavily, frivolously, unadulteratedly. So it's awesome. Yeah, I'm psyched. It's crazy. Yeah. It's April will bring the 5-year anniversary of Rob School of Music, my 9th birthday, and a book. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Your what birthday?
Not 40th, not yet 40th. So that's all that matters. Not 40th.
Okay.
Like sincerely, not 40th.
Yeah.
Like 12 months before 40th.
Okay. Perfect.
So I was talking to some of the kids here today, Brian, and I said I was doing this live stream, and they're like, "Who with?" And I was like, "Oh, you met one of them. They got Brian who was here." And then of course Jeremy starts talking about you, and I was like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "Oh, that guy, what is he, like 14?" I'm like, "No, that guy's in his 40s." And they're like, "What?"
42, baby.
Yeah.
Just eat antioxidants.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's what's going on. So I think it's cool stuff coming from Team Record Talk over here. So for all those watching, loving, and enjoying, we appreciate you very much. We thank you for tuning in on this one, and we encourage you to look back on our 50 something episodes.
This is 53, right? Let me just double check here.
I believe whatever you say.
Yeah, I believe whatever.
You got to count the one. There's one that me and James did on Van Halen that you couldn't come to. So I don't know.
If that's right.
Is that canon or no? I'm not sure.
So
there was the one where you disappeared too.
Yeah, the one where I died and you guys just let
no
it
one checked on you, and me and James.
We didn't not check on you. The show went on.
So for anyone watching, my camera died and I was just like this, frozen.
I think you were leaned over to the
whatever. I'm dead. I look dead.
You do look dead.
No one checked on me. You just let me die.
So let the record show also that he had an LED light in his background that flickered because of the refresh rate of the LED versus the lights in the room and the camera speed. So when that stopped flickering, we knew his camera had stopped. There was no concern that he had died.
But how long did it take you to put that
more
together?
Concerned about me looking at that.
It did not take long because I was watching that LED the entire episode.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is the camera I use for this, you can literally adjust 3 different settings of the refresh rate so you don't have that issue. I just didn't care to notice that. So
I actually notice every now and again, like it either like focuses
zooming,
Yeah, something's going on with it.
Well, I have to and then it finds it.
It's pretty cool though. It's a very nice camera.
It's a Logitech Brio 4K.
I can see your JCM 900 very well.
Yeah, it really does have some. Yeah.
There's a white Falcon over here.
Falcon?
I can see the very bottom of it.
Oh, you see this?
Is that the Nash?
No, this is a Silver Sky and Roxy Pink.
Oh,
I have two pink guitars.
Awesome.
You don't mean what you're saying. Don't lie to me.
That's awesome.
Maybe talk about Batman.
I've heard nothing but amazing things.
It was great.
I've heard nothing.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it so much.
I didn't see it yet. I've just heard nothing but amazing things. It looks great. It looks gritty and gnarly. You know, yeah, like The Dark Knight. Like
there are these scenes that like.
I heard there's a Killing Joke Easter egg in it.
You hear him walking, and like you just see the panic in everyone's face, and you just hear the marching as he's approaching the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then he comes out of the shadows, and like it happens 2 or 3 times, and each time you're like, "Oh yeah,
oh,
all right,
oh man,
yeah." You'll see it. It'll be on April 24th. It'll be on streaming.
Oh, that quick.
Come on, we'll have a watch.
45 days. 45 days from release.
Watch party.
Yeah, we should. It's cool when you guys all come out here in April to celebrate my book release. Come on.
Actually, I might actually be out there just about that time. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Do it. I want to plan a big party in my honor.
Mount Fuji. We'll get zombies.
I'm thinking I want it to be at Marcello's so we can raid the fancies.
What's Marcello's?
Italian restaurant here. A really good restaurant over here in town, but they have I'm kind of buddies with the owner and the sommelier, and they have a very, very, very fancy whiskey selection.
They know people at Buffalo Trace. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Oh, James froze.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. All right, kids. Well, I think that's a fair amount of record talking for this eve.
Record talk.
So I don't know when the next one will be. Could be next week. Could be next year. But in the meantime, be on the lookout for Monster Arms Cellar.
Because I'm in a cellar.
Oh, and James's to be titled Driving Chipotle.
Driving the Destination.
I think you should call it the Chipotle Chronicles.
The Chipotle Chronicles.
There may be a lawsuit involved with that one. I'm not sure.
I feel like I'd ultimately have to plan to go to a Chipotle every time, and I
thought that's what you
were
saying. Did I misunderstand? I thought that was the goal.
Oh no, that's just like this.
I know.
You
okay? And then
I like
of course,
how he really got you there.
it's just absurd what I get away with, and you just let me get away with it. And then hold on, I'll give you guys a little Easter egg teaser here before we sign off.
Is it music?
It's this book shreds front and back cover. What's up?
I like the cover a lot.
Cover's awesome. Do too.
Thank you. She made that. She made a mock-up of like a pedal looking kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's actually an Easter egg inside of it because on the pedal it says JK1S. So that's Jack, number 1 son.
So great.
Aww.
Isn't that sweet?
That's very cool.
And then she took my my standard Rob stock photo, but she photoshopped the green guitar in there and made it giant.
Yeah, she did.
That's cool. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so psyched for you guys to see it. Like I said, you're in it a ton, so hopefully awesome. I didn't say anything inappropriate. All right. Until next time.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Listen to Pearl Jam 10. I mean, In Utero.
In Utero. What's wrong with you?